behind that, which is, okay, let's try and wipe the slate clean. And people listening might say, well, it's all very well to say that, but look at what's going on now. We've had some not very friendly comments by President Bashir warning the South, look, you know, don't try and stop us getting some use from your oil. We know that there are reports that both sides support the opponents of the other. So there is a reality check going on, but on an occasion like this, I think the symbolism is important. I mean, when the flag was folded, the flag of the Republic of Sudan, I suppose they could have said to Omar al-Bashir, well, just take it back with you to Khartoum on your aeroplane when things are over. So a good gesture, I would think, that Khartoum would say that they are keeping it.
It is your president.
Right, we're waiting imminently for this signing of the Constitution, Zainab, but just again, reflection on the emotion that we've seen on people's faces, lots of tears as well as happiness.
Yes, there is a great deal of happiness, genuine happiness. I would say that probably a lot of the people you're seeing there would constitute what you would call the elite of southern Sudan. It's worth remembering that only 1 in 10 people in South Sudan can actually read or write. It really is a lamentable statistic that illiteracy is as high as 90% and that people really live a hand-to-mouth existence in many cases. So certainly I'm not saying that there isn't genuine joy. The referendum was verified by international observers, and a stunning 98.83 to be precise % of people who voted actually wanted that. But, you know, as well as the celebrations that you can see there and the plans for the commemoration taking place now, all those delegations coming from all over the world, China representing Asia, the European Union, the US and so on, a great deal of work has been underway by the officials and the politicians in South Sudan to establish the foundations of this new republic. I mean, over the last few weeks, the Southern Sudan Legislative Assembly has passed some very key laws that are prerequisites to the establishment of this new nation, things like the Nationality and Citizenship Act, laws on the national flag, the anthem, the coat of arms and state seal, and of course the transitional constitution was passed by the Legislative
Zainab,
Assembly.
just breaking there, you can see there the president now, Salva Kiir, waving above his head the new constitution of South Sudan. Salva Kiir there, patting the other officials, the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly there in a gesture. That is a new constitution for South Sudan, which has now been signed. He's expected to take the oath any minute, although I have to say, let's have a listen to what's happening at the moment.
Copies will be put in the custody of institutions of the government of South Sudan that will be the custodians of the implementation of this constitution. And they start with the office of the president, the office of the Chief Justice. Up to this moment, we refer to our Chief Justice as the President of the Supreme Court of South Sudan. The other procedures will follow later. Third copy will be given to the ministry under the custody of the Minister of Justice or Legal Affairs. And the fourth copy will be in the custody of the Speaker of our People's Assembly. Those 4 copies will be deposited accordingly.
هسه هنبدأ مراسيم بتاعنا لحليفة بتاع رئيس جمهورية جنوب السودان. هيجي قدام رئيس بتاع قضاء جنوب السودان عشان هو يشرف على مراسيم بتاع حليفة للرئيس جمهورية
the Supreme Judge of the High Court.
The President of the Republic of South Sudan, General Salva Kiir Mayardit, will now come forward to take the oath of office, which will be administered by Justice John Wolmakech, President of the Supreme Court of South Sudan.
You go for him. Hold the mic.
Yep, this is the moment when Salva Kiir takes the oath of office.
Of the president. I,
General Salva Kiir Mayardit,
I swear by the Almighty God,
do hereby swear by the Almighty God
that as the President of the Republic of South Sudan,
that as the President of the Republic of South Sudan,
I shall be faithful
I shall be faithful
and bear true allegiance to the Republic of South Sudan,
and bear true allegiance to the Republic of South Sudan,
and shall diligently
and
and honestly discharge my duties
and
responsibilities in consultative manner to foster the development and welfare of the people of South Sudan,
to foster the development and welfare of the people of South Sudan,
that I shall obey, preserve, and defend the Constitution,
and
abide by the law,
and
that I shall protect and promote the unity of the people of South Sudan,
and
consolidate the democratic decentralized system of government,
and
preserve the integrity and dignity of the people of South Sudan. So help me God.
So help me God. So help South Sudan. Oh God, help South Sudan. Help President Salva Kiir Mayardit. South Sudan woye! South Sudan woye! Jamhuriya Junuba Sudan woye! Al-Asa Nesma Lenashid Al-Watani.
Well, there we saw it. President Salva Kiir taking the oath of office, the president of South Sudan. Great cheers gone up there. Well, let's go live to Juba, where that's all taking place. We can speak to our correspondent there, Will Ross. Will, very great deal of excitement and jubilation there.
There is a lot of jubilation. We've had the South Sudan flag that was raised up a few moments ago to huge cheers from the tens of thousands of people that have turned up here. And of course, a lot of ceremonial duties to be carried out today. Salva Kiir has just been sworn in as the president. But remember, he has been the president of the south of Sudan for the last 5 or 6 years. So not a huge change there. But the reason why so many people have turned up here today is because this is the birth of a new nation. And although beset by terrible problems, many people are optimistic that a fresh start for South Sudan as a new country will give it a chance to overcome some of the terrible problems it faces, like insecurity and tackling the poverty and the lack of development. But certainly behind me there's also a lot of foreign dignitaries from all across the world. They've come to show their support today, and worth remembering that it was a lot of international pressure that helped bring about the peace agreement that ended the civil war. So the international community is back here today to say we're still with you, South Sudan. But the key question is the relationship after this day, because the international community is going to have to give a lot of support to this country, which has so many problems. The problems are not going to be tackled in just a few years. It's going to take generations.
Well, as you say, Will, in some ways, not much has changed. The president has been the president before, though this is clearly very important symbolically. But does it feel like a new nation? Does it feel, with its new flag and with the great deal of excitement, does it feel different? You've spent some time there.
Yeah, there's euphoria here today, but there was also euphoria on the day when people went to vote in the referendum, when they overwhelmingly voted to break away from the North. But I think this is the final step in that break. And it's interesting when you look back at the history of this place here. The man who led the last stage of the rebellion in the early 1980s, the late John Garang, he was actually in favour of a united Sudan, but he wanted it to be a fair Sudan where nobody was oppressed. Basically, that dream was shattered, and during the last 5 years, Southerners feel that the North didn't make the option of unity really very viable, didn't make it attractive, and that's why people said, no, we've had enough of the North, we're going to break away, and we're going to do it on our own. But lots of questions are still outstanding, especially the oil. The North and the South have not decided exactly where the border is. There are oil fields along the common border, so still a lot of room for dispute and conflict there. And also, you know, how much money will the North get from the South oil, which will still have to be exported through the North and out through Port Sudan. So lots of unfinished business, certainly a mood of jubilation, and you know, a lot of handshakes going on, and President Bashir is here from Khartoum, and he's been given a fairly warm welcome. But behind the scenes, you know, everybody knows that the relation between the North and the South is still very bad.
Okay, Will Ross there in Juba. Let's go back and get a bit more of a flavour of what's going on there in Juba. As we've been hearing, we have seen the oath of office officially taken by President Salva Kiir. He signed the constitution. The new flag has been hoisted to great cheers from that crowd there who have thronged this new capital of the world's newest nation. And now we're expecting speeches from those foreign dignitaries who've arrived, quite a few of them. And as our correspondents have been telling us, that foreign support is going to be extremely important. Let's just have a listen to what's taking place there now.
Salva Kiir, President of the Republic of Sudan. Your Excellency Omar Hassan al-Bashir, President of the Republic of the Sudan. Excellencies, the heads of state and government, the people of Sudan, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I congratulate and salute President Salva Kiir and the people of Southern Sudan on this historic...
By the outcome of the referendum on self-determination, hereby declare Southern Sudan to be an independent and sovereign state.
Free at last, South Sudan formally declares its independence as tens of thousands celebrate in the new capital, Juba. Welcome to BBC World News. I'm Adnan Nawaz. Our other main stories this Saturday. The international media tycoon Rupert Murdoch is expected in London to tackle the crisis at his British newspaper Empire in person. Malaysian police fire tear gas and arrest hundreds of protesters at a banned rally in the capital Kuala Lumpur.